They say in our lifetime, we spend 90,000 hours at work. That's a lot of time. A lot of time to spend at work during our life. And if we're there wondering why are we doing this or what are we doing it for, then it comes into perspective of, well, what motivates us to get up every day? Is it simply just a paycheck, or is it something more that we want to leave behind
for sure
when that time comes? I am Brandon Johnson.
I'm Tyler Reckla, and this is the Synergy Code Podcast.
All right. Begin, I guess? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So this episode, we're going to talk about you. Stop being average, right? We're going to jump right into the whole idea of what does average mean and why are we so consistently, comfortably able to stay in the average realm?
Sure. Yeah. Like they always say, average or complacency is the death of advancement, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the comfort is the worst addiction a man can have. When we sit into the comfortability realm, we tend not to take that risk. We tend not to put ourselves out there to find out who we truly are, because life changes us, our experiences and our perspective. So why are we always constantly settling for average?
Yeah, for sure. Well, same thing, like even within my industry and everything, the way I built my business was like, I just didn't want to be your average therapist anymore. I wanted more. I wanted to grow. I wanted my business to grow. Like I wanted me to grow as a person and everything too. So yeah, same thing. I just never wanted to settle for average. Right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny how like some people are good with that.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that are okay with simply staying where they're currently at because of that comfortability realm. But the whole idea of like today, what we want to discuss is like, how do we push you guys into not being average anymore to where you can get that promotion, where you can take that risk and make that generational wealth in order for you to live a happier life. When you think about being average, what does that mean to you, right? What does that mean to the idea of where you're currently at and where you currently want to go in order for you to truly excel at what you're truly capable of, and not just constantly listening to the naysayers telling you can't do it because that's stupid or that's just not how it's ever been done.
What do you think holds people back the most? Like, why do you think people settle for average? Because you look at me and you, right?
Yeah.
Like we started our own business. We want to excel. We have, 5-year, 10-year plans or whatever down the road. What do you think it is that holds people back?
Comfort.
Because I know a lot of people, right? I know a lot of people that they're just good working for somebody. They don't want to start their own business. Like as long as they're making okay money, they're good. They don't need to grow from there.
No, absolutely. And I think it's comfort. I think a lot of people like the idea of being comfortable in one spot, and they don't like anything to rock the boat or make the waves, which is perfectly fine. I mean, that's absolutely okay. But why is that okay? That's the key. That's the key question. Why is that okay?
We have to have people that are going to work the jobs too.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Like you have to have those people. I just thought it was always funny when you come across these people are they're just okay working the 9 to 5. They're okay, not advancing in their career. I know, like I said, plenty of people that are that's all they want to do. And for me, it's just weird because I always want to get better. Like I'm always constantly trying to grow, always trying to constantly learn. Right? To me, average is when I'm selling for average. That's when I'm ready to retire. Like I'm ready to be done.
So then, as a business owner, how does that affect your growth of your employees that work for you? If someone's okay with doing a Monday to Friday 9 to 5 and they don't want advancement as quick as like say some of your fast burners, how is the smart way to attack that to make sure that they don't become stagnant and just in the mundane way of life?
I think it's okay to have those, actually. Like, I think it's okay to have that mixed in because you want to have those people that are trying to excel, whether they're working for you or someone else. Like, you want those people, like different tiers, right? Yep. Like, you have your top tier of employee or contractor, whatever it is, that's trying to constantly get better. That maybe they want to be in your shoes someday, but then like those people are going to advance out, right? You're going to constantly replace those people, as employees and everything. It's nice to have that person they've made a comfortable level. They're good being there forever, because then that's going to be good for, your turnover rate. Like you don't necessarily have to keep replacing those people. Those are reliable, loyal people that are going to be there forever. And then maybe they'll get like a little bit better, but then you don't have to keep constantly replacing them. So I think it's good to have both, right? Especially like as a business owner, like I don't want to have to replace an employee every year because they've advanced so far and they're so motivated to go do their own thing that I have to constantly replace them. Like I want to help people grow. I want to help people get better, even as providers and clinicians, but I also want to retain them too.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That perspective definitely makes sense. My thing is on that is, how do you stop from yourself being complacent of having the luxury of somebody who's just there Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, just to collect a paycheck, not wanting to do any more? Do you find yourself as a business owner, like more micromanaging them or more setting them and just being like, I know what they're going to do. I'm not going to get anything more. I'm not going to get anything less.
I think at that point, like your standard as a business owner needs to elevate and change. Right.
Yep.
So as I grow and adapt and my, strive for getting out at average or going above average changes, my standard changes, right? So my standard might be, at this level today, and then tomorrow I've learned new things or I've acquired new skills or whatever. Now my standard's up here. So you always want to bring those people up to at least your standard, right? So that standard does grow. So I think their average still continues to grow as well, right? Yeah. But there is always something they're striving for or something they're like learning. They're always continuing their education. They're always continuing their skill set, their toolbox, their tool belt of acquiring new skills, even if it is that standard, but that standard itself kind of keeps rising.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's the standard, right? Do you as a business owner, does our employees as the ownership of our business organization, do we set a clear and defined set of standards for them to meet and exceed if they want to? And how do we go about to be in the best way to challenge them to think of the idea that average is okay, but I need more in order for the brand that we're working for, the brand that we're representing, can grow and scale. And so when you are ready, or those who are ready, we can go ahead and set you up for more success.
They've got that kickstart.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that comes back to, like, again, your standard as that entrepreneur. Your standard that's the average, but your average is above the industry average, right? Or the normal average, whatever it is, whatever industry you're in or whatever walk of life you're in. As long as your average, your standard is above what the norm is, I think those people will always be set up for success.
Absolutely. Well, and the thing is too, is as business owners, because it's our baby and it's what we like, we also have to put in perspective, no one's going to have the drive that we have to protect our brand for what we put all the hours in, right? And we got to understand that to allow ourselves not to settle for average, because we got a good working machine.
Totally.
If we think outside of the box and understand that if we settle for average, or we allow too many people in our organization settling for average, then we're not going to be set up for success, and we're not going to be prepared for the opportunity when it comes, because we're going to wait for it to come. So we're more reactive than active in trying to make sure that we're constantly filling that cup of experience, perspective, and just thinking out of the box the best way.
Well, it's nice to have I was talking to somebody yesterday about it, is to have someone in the business that's your A to Z person, right? They've got that big vision. They're here, they're at A, right? And Z's where they want to go. And that could be a year, 5 years, 10 years down the road. But then you need that B to Y person. You need that person that's like, okay, we want to get to Z. This is how we get to Z.
Yep.
B to Y is how we get. These are the details that are immediately in front of us. This is how we get there. So it's nice to have both too.
Right? Oh yeah,
and have those two perspectives.
Oh yeah. Well, and it comes down to the individual's values of what they truly value in the organization and how they fit in the organization. So they know, hey, I'm being heard, I'm being seen, and I'm being valued. And I think that's what's going to help people being stuck or staying with a organization for a long period of time. Because, they say in our lifetime, we spend 90,000 hours at work. That's a lot of time. A lot of time to spend at work during our life. And if we're there wondering why are we doing this or what are we doing it for, then it comes into perspective of, well, what motivates us to get up every day? Is it simply just a paycheck, or is it something more that we want to leave behind
for sure
when that time comes?
It's funny to think about that too. If you're spending 90,000 hours of your life working, right? And let's say a 30-year day is working 8 hours a day, and you're spending a third of that day sleeping, like how much time do you have actually in your life to do the things that you want to do?
Yeah.
Right. That's wild to think about.
Well, yeah, and then you got to add in travel time.
Travel time.
You got to
yep.
add in
gym time.
gym
Hopefully.
time, hopefully, right? And then
Maybe not so much if you're trying your 75 hard for the third or fourth time.
fourth time on the first day of 75 hard. Yeah.
And
yeah.
what's your record?
Yeah, two
days. Okay.
2 days. So
Yeah.
I made it to 2 on 75 hard.
Might be able to get a little bit better than that, but
yeah. Well, it's hard.
Yeah.
No, my biggest thing is the drinking of the water.
That's
It's
that's crazy to me
drinking of the water.
because it's so 75 hard is 2 workouts a day, right?
Yep,
At
45 minutes.
minimum 45 minutes,
Yep.
and one has to be outside.
One outside,
correct?
yeah.
And then you have to read 10 pages of a nonfiction book.
book.
What's the other thing?
Drink a gallon of water and eat healthy and no alcohol.
Is it a certain the eat healthy portion? Is that like a certain diet? Is it like paleo or something?
No, it just says you got to eat healthy.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah,
that's all it says. Oh,
that's all it says.
It's funny that your hiccup is the gallon of water.
Yeah, it's a gallon of water, and sometimes I just really like fatty food.
Yeah.
So I
because
think
I probably drink just on average, just without trying, probably a gallon of water a day.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting there. So I bought a gallon jug that I need to drink, and it has those sayings like you're almost there and all that stuff. So
one of the biggest pointers for that. So back when I was competing, I drank anywhere from like a gallon and a half to 2 gallons a day. One of the biggest things I would do to get me kickstarted on the day is I wake up and get a big glass of water, like 20 to 30 ounces, and I would just down that thing first thing in the morning. Then you've already got that kickstart for the day.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do it like you have your cup of coffee, but then chug that water too. Then you're dehydrated, then you feel better, right? You're going to feel more motivated
You're
to
gonna
get that
feel
water.
better being dehydrated.
No, having the water.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not having the dehydration. You
I'm
don't
like,
want the
wait a minute.
dehydration. Yeah.
No, I got you. No, and that makes sense because like my morning routine it literally is I get up at 3:30 every morning. I do my journaling, 750 words. I drink my coffee.
I can't believe he gets up at 3:30. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
That doesn't compute in my brain.
Yeah, about 4 hours a night for the last 8 years. So that's just crazy.
Don't do that. That's not healthy. Just FYI.
Yeah, and then I
Yeah.
get yelled at by the yoga lady on the TV screen. So got to do the mindset thing every single morning.
Is this the hot yoga?
No, not hot yoga. This is just regular yoga
okay.
before anybody gets up in the house.
Yeah.
And then I try to make it to hot yoga in the morning. So
Burn it down.
burn it down. Yeah,
Burn it down like the Teslas. Everyone's burning down.
yeah. Which I don't understand what the point is because if you burn down a lithium ion battery, isn't that worse for the environment than?
To me, none of it makes any sense, right? I don't know why you'd go around and I mean, I don't care what it is, like what side or whatever it is. You're going around vandalizing all these things, and even like the environmental aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
Like electric cars aren't that much better.
Well, you bought it to be environmentally virtual signaling.
Virtual
right?
signaling, yeah, for sure, yeah.
And now you're virtually signaling that you don't care anymore. So it doesn't make sense. And I've been reading and seeing a lot of things on socials about like, don't support a billionaire. But really, they say that Teslas are the most American-made vehicle on the road. 100%.
Yeah, which doesn't make any sense. And it's not even that too. Like, and I'm sure, and I don't know if you've looked into this or anything, but if someone goes and vandalizes a Tesla dealership, there's probably some sort of government subsidy that helps them pay for that, right?
Yeah, you would think.
Like out of insurance or something.
Yeah.
So all they're doing, the whole Doge effort, right, to spend less money, and then they're going through and vandalizing it. So we have to spend more money to cover their vandalism.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
But when you think about majority of the people that own Teslas before all this stuff came out were the people on the same side as you're going to push them over to the other side.
Right.
Right. And you're going to make them think, wait a minute, why are you attacking me based on the car that I drove or bought because I wanted to be environmentally sound? But at the end of the day, you're attacking me, but you don't know who I am.
No, well, I mean, we all know why they're attacking them.
Yeah.
Right? It's all because of Elon and everything.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It's funny because now you have the people they're very much anti Tesla, but then they're going around driving VWs or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Which we all know who had their hand in that.
Yeah, or you look at like a couple of the politicians that, hey, I'm going to sell my Tesla.
Yeah.
I'm environmentally sound, but I'm going to buy a Tahoe.
Right.
I'm going to buy a Suburban that is, burns how much gas? How much fuel?
I don't know, a lot.
Yeah, a lot. And it just goes that they're not genuine in what they're standing up for. They're just doing whatever gets clicks.
So have you looked at like the Doge numbers and stuff like that?
I just yes, I want to say they are up to like $140 billion saved or something, maybe even a little bit more.
I just saw it was roughly as of like a week ago. It was like 140 billion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
It's a lot.
And people are upset because
I don't get it. I genuinely don't understand it. And the biggest thing I don't understand is it's not a bipartisan issue, right? It's not a left or a right. This is an American issue.
Yeah.
Like our national debt's at like almost $40 trillion. That's insane. Like
Well,
there has to be something done about that.
well, they said they got to restructure the payment on like $9 trillion this summer, and this is why like everything's being implemented now, because if we save the money on the front end, the interest rate will be lower, therefore we can afford it a little bit more so we don't go bankrupt.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's the idea of fraud, waste, and abuse not being a unifying message across the board.
Well, you've seen the have you seen any of the stuff about USAID?
Yes.
All that stuff?
Yeah.
Like I don't understand how
Well, if you
can be
notice,
against that.
there has been less protesters, or not as large as protesting, because they don't have their funding through the USAID.
Speaking of which, you see the anti-protest at Tesla?
Yeah. That happened here. Last Saturday? There was
I think so.
more pro Elon, pro Trump
Yeah.
people than there were anti,
Yeah.
which is great. But then you got to think about what's the message that both sides are trying to send? Like, why are you protesting American citizens working at that job who have created that
protesting
cars?
against.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
right.
and then you get mad when people protest to not agree with you, but say, "Hey, did you think of this different
So
perspective?"
someone got hit. Did you see that?
No, I did not.
Some guy pulled over. Those protests had a Trump flag and American flag or whatever, and then someone hit him.
Wow.
I don't know if it was him personally or his vehicle, and then drove off. Yeah,
Interesting. Hopefully
Yeah.
that guy got caught.
he did.
Okay, good.
From what I heard, he did. Yeah. But it just checks out.
No,
It just-
that's interesting, because it just goes into the whole perspective of like it's not just a Tesla thing, it's not just a political thing, it's a social thing, right? Because you look at like recently released movies, Snow White. I wanted to take my daughters to Snow White until I started watching the trailers, and then I started watching research on it, like what's the theme behind Snow White, and then it turns out that they went against the whole original content because they said it doesn't fit our social structure.
You know what's irritating about that for me is Disney took a lot. You know where a lot of those movies come from, right? The Brothers Grimm.
Yeah.
You know what the Brothers Grimm is,
Yes.
right? They're Northern European fairy tales.
Yeah.
Northern Europeans were very much white. Why do we need to change it? Just make a new IP. It's not hard.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And write new
You can
fairy
make a new
tales.
story.
Yeah, write new
What
fairy
was the
tales.
one? The last one that was animated that Disney did. Actually, like drawn cartoon. The Princess and the Frog.
Princess and the Frog. Yep.
Awesome movie. It's probably actually, I think it's one of the only princess Disney movies I've seen.
Yep.
I thought it was a fantastic movie.
I like it.
Like but that's a good way to incorporate like different cultures and stuff like that. Moana. There's another one. You don't have to rewrite these stories or these cartoons or fairy tales and inject whatever ideology that you want to inject into it. You can make your own independent films.
Well, and it seems that the ones that they don't rewrite, but they actually stick to the historical factors and the historical accuracies.
Are you talking about like Disney?
Yeah, Disney.
So like
and it's
like Aladdin, right?
Like Aladdin.
Yeah.
Keep it in that realm.
Yeah.
People will flood the movie theaters.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if I've seen. Have you seen the Aladdin one?
the live
Yeah.
stream that came out a couple years
That
ago.
was one with Will Smith, right?
Yes.
Did they do a second
Absolutely.
one?
No.
That's
not
what I
yet.
thought. Okay.
Not yet.
I
But
think I've seen
it. It is good.
Is it?
Yeah, it is good.
Did you ever see the Lion King one?
the Mufasa one or
No,
the Lion
no,
King?
the Lion King.
No, I did not watch that one. But my kids love the Mufasa one.
That's the new one, right? That just came out. Yeah. Did you see the Lion King one, Justin? Yeah. What'd you think? Good? Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't.
Oh, I thought it was. I think it was good. I remember Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen's in it. I think because he's Pumbaa.
He's Puma?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. It was,
That's a good pick.
It was really, really
That's a
good.
good pick.
I thought
I'll
it
have
was
to
really
go
well
home
done.
and watch it.
Yeah, I haven't. There's not a lot of Disney movies I've seen. That's one of them for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. It's too bad with the Snow White thing. I'm glad because initially when they started doing it like 2 or 3 years ago, they weren't going to have the dwarves in it. They were just going to have like just random regular people.
Yep.
I'm glad they at least changed
Well,
it to the.
they were
dwarves.
just CGI. They weren't actual dwarves, I heard.
Yeah, and I've heard the CGI wasn't great.
Yeah.
which is too bad.
Well, it is what it is. Go woke, go broke, they say, right?
Yeah,
Kind of in that aspect.
right.
So just trying to figure out what's the best path forward in order to get back into going to the movies, experiencing that and just having fun, not to go and get lectured by the Hollywood or any of that.
Well, that's the thing too. When people go to the movies, that's like an escape from reality. They don't need more of the same shit they've been dealing with, throughout the week, throughout their life. They want to escape from all that.
Yeah.
So like to force that onto people at the movies, or even have any sort of that ideology, is like, just leave it alone. And I don't care what side it is. I don't care what the ideology is.
Yep.
Just have a movie that you can go enjoy and watch.
Well, it's like how many people watch sports for sports, but then we get inundated with the players' ideas and what they stand for. Cool. I respect you. You got that. You can do you, boo. But when it comes to it, I'm there to watch you.
I'm there to space out for a while.
Yeah.
Like I'm there to nerd out on some statistics and stuff that I can randomly spout out 10 years from now for whatever reason. Like I want to watch sports just to turn my brain off for a little bit and just watch it. Just like watching the game last night, Duke and Houston.
Oh, that was great.
I didn't realize, because I was inside, I did not realize that Houston was down like 8 points.
Oh, they were down 11 or 12 in the last 2 minutes.
I could not believe that until I saw the highlights this morning.
Yeah, the Houston definitely came back, definitely stuck in it, which is great because they understood the whole idea. Yeah, we're behind, but there's still so much time, especially in basketball.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I'm glad I picked Florida to go to the championship and not Auburn.
Oof, I stuck to my home roots. I picked Gonzaga, but
Did you really?
They didn't make it past Houston. So
I think
if Houston wins, that's fine because they lost to the national champion.
Gonzaga was out in the second round?
Yeah.
Or was it third?
No, it was second.
Okay.
It was second round.
I had it picked right because I almost picked all number one seeds for the Final Four. I was like, that never happens. There's no way I'm going to pick this.
Yeah.
And so I think I picked Iowa State or something like that in the Northeast or whatever. And should have picked all number one seeds.
All number ones, yeah.
Because I would have had, pretty close. I had Duke going to the finals.
Yeah.
But with Florida making it, though, I did win free sushi.
There you go.
So me and some buddies, we do a bracket challenge every year.
Okay. And
the winner gets free sushi paid for the other guys. By the other
so
guys.
what's the sushi joint that you're going to end up going to in the local area?
Yoitomo. It's the best, my opinion, it's the best around.
Yeah.
All you can eat. And even with it being all you can eat, it's like the best quality that I've had. I've heard there's a couple other good ones quality-wise, but they're not all you can eat, which I don't really care.
Yeah.
But I still want to try them. But as far as what I've had, it's the best quality I've had. Have you ever been there?
No.
Are you a sushi
I'm
guy?
not a sushi guy.
Oh, that's right. You don't like sushi.
I'm not a sushi guy.
You don't like food.
I do like food.
He has the palate of a 12-year-old. That's what it is.
I have a sensitive palate, and it's a real thing, guys.
I wouldn't say it's a sensitive palate. I would say it's a very dull palate.
It's
a
chicken
sensitive
nuggets.
palate likes food.
Hey, it's chicken nuggets and peanut butter and jellies. It's perfectly fine. My 3-year-old loves it. Me and him have the same appetite.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and he lives off donuts and sodas, right?
Sodas, yeah, and a lot of sugar.
Yeah,
we're gonna take him to Sugars Anonymous because he'll steal my cans of Canada Dry. As soon as I open it up, my 3-year-old will hear it and he'll run down the stairs with a straw, stab it in
That's crazy.
the can, and then take off with it and laugh all the way upstairs to his room. Yeah,
That's like Joker behavior, but for sodas.
Sodas and candy.
That kid has so much freaking energy too.
Well, yeah, he does.
He is all over the place.
He's all over the place, but
Yeah.
he's also we call him our window licker. So we were in Burley for my daughter's dance competition. We were standing in the elevator, going upstairs, and there was a group of people in the elevator, and my son, he started talking, or he's been putting a lot more words together, and he's like, "Hey, nice to meet you." And he turned around and he licked from the bottom of the buttons to the top of the buttons.
Oh,
and I was like, that's embarrassing. It's a good thing I had like a sanitary wipe on me anyway. So I cleaned
So what
it
do
off.
you do? Sanitize his tongue? Like,
No, sanitize the buttons and just embarrassingly walk off the elevator.
Okay.
And kind of do one of those awkward, ha 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 ha, that's funny. Okay, time to get off. And hopefully he didn't say my name. So they don't know who I was on the elevator.
Oh, no. No wonder you guys call him window licker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know he literally licks things.
Yeah, he licks things, which is the weirdest thing. But he'll have the best immune system ever. So
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. You see the kids like where I grew up, out in the, the farms and stuff like that, out in the sticks and everything, and we all had great immune systems.
Because you drink water from a hose.
Oh yeah, that's the best water too.
It's the best water.
Best water. We had one of the places I grew up. We had 3 different wells, and the the 2 wells not attached to the house were awesome water. There's the best water I've ever had. Mm-hmm. The well attached to the house was the worst water I've ever had.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah.
It was the very sulfury, rotten egg kind of water. Yeah.
That was attached to your house?
It was the one attached to the house. The one that the house fed off of was the bad well. So I'd go outside to the one that was like in the middle of the yard, and I'd fill up my pitcher or jug or whatever. That's where I'd get my water. Yeah. My dad actually had the water tested because we lived out in Vail. And he had the water tested when he was in BSU or whatever, and it said something about it was very old water that came from Crater Lake. So some sort of our aquifers over there was that deep and that far.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I can't remember how deep the well was, but it was pretty deep.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
No, I just remember drinking the water out of the hose, and especially on the hot summers where it just had that rubbery taste to it.
Oh, so I never got that.
Yeah.
Although I think we didn't. I don't think we used a hose. I think it was just straight out of the spigot. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was. It's very interesting when you think about that of the experiences of how we view water and being outside versus today.
Yeah. Well, you have to have the what's the popular water brand? Fiji
water. Yeah,
everyone's gonna have their Fiji or
Smart Water.
I saw a thing the other day that the most expensive water in the world for a bottle of water is like 1 point something million.
For a bottle of water?
Yeah.
Where does that water come from?
I have no idea. It was a very fancy bottle.
So you just you're
probably just paying for the bottle.
The water companies aren't water companies; they're bottle companies. Yeah. So you're paying.
They're marketing companies.
The marketing companies.
So the same thing. So you know what Buffalo Trace is, right? The whiskey, and they own a bunch of different brands and everything, right?
Yeah.
Buffalo Trace is not a whiskey or bourbon company. It is 100% a marketing company.
Really?
Yeah. They're a lot of the reason behind a lot of the bourbon bubble is just because they have a lot of the same whiskey.
Yeah.
They'll age it for an extra year or something like that, and then put it into a bottle and slap a different label on it. It's the same thing, the same mash bill, the same whatever, but it's aged 2 more years, so now they can put a different label on it.
Dang, that's
so
crazy.
Now you can go grab. You have this one. Now you have to go get that one because you're trying to collect all of them or get all the different bottles. Yeah.
I want to take a quick moment to thank each and every one of you for listening to the Synergy Code podcast. If you could do us a small favor and comment, like, and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. As always, we're going to try our best to bring you engaging and entertaining content. So thank you, and let's get back to the episode.
So you still owe me breakfast today or lunch.
Why?
Because you won poker last night. I told you if you won that you were paying for brunch.
I didn't agree to that.
Yeah. Yes, you did.
Maybe if you would have had better hands last night.
I didn't have shit. I didn't have a hand. I couldn't bluff. I couldn't nothing. I was getting like deuces and sevens the whole time. I lost playing poker by the blinds.
So explain to the audience basically the whole idea behind Sips and Spades.
So Sips and Spades is a club or group or Facebook group or whatever that I created where we just get together. The whole point is to sip. So you bring a drink, you bring a cigar, you bring a beer, a whiskey, whatever you want to drink, right? And you just enjoy the moment without TVs, without phones, without distractions, right? And you just take your time for a few hours and you just sit with some friends and just enjoy company, right? Just enjoy that social aspect of being around people.
So So last night then, it wasn't really Sips and Spades. It was more just blind your way out of it because, like you said, you didn't get to play any hands.
I didn't get to play at all. No. Yeah, it sucked. That was the worst.
It was awesome for me. I enjoyed it.
I think it was stupid. That makes it even worse.
It was awesome. I won. I finally won. I think this is my fourth time.
I think it's your third time at the group, right?
Yep.
So first time walking away. It was the first time not at my house, which was interesting. Yeah.
Very, very interesting. Different
atmospheres.
Different venue and stuff. But it was fun. We definitely need to make sure that we got more than six. I think 8 or 9.
Eight's where we try to start because the table can fit 8, and 8's a good starting point. 6 isn't bad. It just depends on the group that you have.
Yeah,
it's hard when you have somebody that doesn't know how to play though, and you're trying to teach them how to play the whole time.
No, absolutely, and that kind of slows down the flow of the game when that happens.
It defeats the whole purpose of sitting there and BSing with your buddies and just shooting the shit while you have a drink or something like that, and you're sitting there trying to teach somebody how to play the whole time. You want it to flow pretty well though.
Yeah,
but I mean, it was still a good time.
Yeah, and I like the idea of poker because when is like the real time that we as adults can just like let our hair down and just enjoy other adults and just have like fun.
Well, it's not only that too. What's really one of the main goals of me creating this, like to be more social, just with people, like I said, without the technology distractions, is that there's a lot of really cool research that shows like poor relationships are very, very poor for your health. It is worse to have poor relationships than smoking a pack of cigarettes a day.
Yeah.
Meaning like you can have relationships and friends online or video games, whatever. But the difference is when you're online and you're not in person like we are now, you still get that release of dopamine. You get that dopamine hit, right? But when you're in person, you get that oxytocin. You only get oxytocin when you're in person.
Oh yeah.
You have to have that in-person connection. So I think a lot of people are missing that these days. So that was one of the points of doing the club too. Yeah, and it's just fun. I like gambling, I like playing poker, and I like whiskey.
No,
so
it's
I
very
can combine
fun.
all those together.
No, it is fun to do it, especially at least once a month, because it gets you in that mindset of understanding that there's more than just going to work every single day and just doing your daily grind, and just be able to get around a table, drink a little bit, smoke a little bit, and just have fun and just BS with everyone.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, it was. So
it's better
poker,
when I win.
Yeah, well, definitely when you win, but last night. Well, not when you win.
Specifically when I win.
Not when you win. But no, last night was fun because it wasn't too expensive to get in. And
did I tell you the first few times we did it? Because we've been doing this for over a year now. The first few times we played, I think the first like 4 games, I won every time.
It's because you probably cheated.
I was actually genuinely worried nobody would show back up.
Because you kept on
felt
winning?
so bad. Like, don't get me wrong, I want to win, but I felt so bad because everyone show up and I just take all their money. I felt terrible. It was awful.
So did you not end up splitting the pot? Because I know last night we split the pot.
I'd like to not. I prefer, personally, unless it goes too long.
Yeah.
Like last night, I thought you guys split pretty early. I think you kept playing, but I prefer not to. I like a clear winner.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's why I don't like doing the like our buddy Danny brought up the cash game aspect. That's fine. I don't like that. I prefer like just a tournament style.
Tournament,
like,
yeah.
So we throw $10 in, like you take the $10.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And the way that it flows makes it everyone understand what the goal is of the night, in the aspect of I'm here to actually win money and have a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
You know,
it's always like I like having fun. I like doing things, but I also like there being a point to it too. Like,
so what was the point of you losing last night then?
That was not the point. The goal was not accomplished last night.
That goal was very much accomplished for me.
Not accomplished.
It's the first time I ever walked away with money, so I liked it. Yeah, first time.
I like it too when we have when John's with us, because then a lot of times we'll play the other kind of games.
Yeah,
like the 7 card no peak stuff like that. Just the weird games at the end.
Towards the end, yeah. But
after the main one.
Yeah. Texas Hold'em is.
What's really cool too, I you didn't see this either. One of the first games, I made a bunch of swag for all the guys in the group. So we have like money clips that are branded. We have rocks glasses that have the logo on and everything.
So since I won last night, where's my stuff?
I'll get you something.
Okay,
I'll
you
get
better.
you something. Yeah,
you better. So one of the things that we talked about though last night, which was kind of interesting because you added it to the conversation, was the idea of creatine, right? And understanding how creatine is actually good for you. But yet I've grown up to think that it's kind of bad because the idea of like it retains a lot of your water.
So creatine is like, so for me personally, creatine is one of those people ask me about supplements a lot doing what I do, and people the thing I across the board recommend to everyone is creatine. So creatine, one of the biggest misconceptions is that it just holds water and it's just for your muscles and stuff like that. While that's kind of true, and it only really holds water if you've never taken creatine, right, and you just start, it'll retain water for a while, and then after your body kind of assimilates, it doesn't really do that much anymore. But what creatine does is creatine works on the powerhouse of the cell, the power unit of the cell, which is the mitochondria, which, right, you know what that is. Do you know what ATP is?
No.
So ATP is adenosine triphosphate, which is essentially, it is the gasoline to our vehicles. That's what it is to our cells, to the mitochondria. It is the unit of energy of which basically our entire body works on, sort of, right? And creatine makes the cells essentially more efficient with the ATP. And it works on all cells, right? So it works on the cells within your muscles, within your skin, your visceral cells, so your liver, your gut, stuff like that. It also works on your brain. So one of the things creatine does, it actually helps flush inflammation, which is important for dementia or Alzheimer's. So they're studying it now to use it for a lot of like cognitive effects, where before it was all based around like athletic performance or muscle building, but now they're really using it for cognitive effects. So one of the studies that just came out, they showed they did a cohort of 2 different cohorts, right?
Okay.
Where one group, they both went to counseling, right? One group took a placebo, and the other group took 5 grams of creatine a day for, I can't remember the length of the study. It was a few weeks. And they found at the end, and it's all self-reported because it's about depression, but they found at the end, the group that took the creatine, the 5 grams of creatine, reported much less symptoms than the group that didn't with the placebo. Yeah.
That's an interesting aspect because the depression side affects a lot of us. But if we have misconceptions of what creatine actually does, I think that will halt us from taking it versus
Creatine
going straight to
it's so effective.
something a little harder.
Yeah. I'm very much against SSRIs because they're not super effective. They also have some negative side effects. One of the best things for people with like depression and anxiety and mental issues, right? Mental difficulties is exercise and creatine are awesome. You pair those together, especially if you go like have a therapist or something like that too. It is very, very effective. One of the best. Now it's easier said than done. You take someone with depression and you tell them, "Hey, just go work out." It's not that easy, right?
No.
But if they are able, they can manage to get to a gym or go for a walk or a run or whatever. Exercise is great for depression and all like anxiety, mental disorders, stuff like that.
So then if that's the case, at the beginning of every year, we always set our little exercising goals of, hey, I want to lose this.
New year, new you stuff.
New year, new you
I've
stuff.
never
right?
done that.
You know, there's a National Quitters Day, which is January 9th.
Is it? I thought it was just the first Friday of January.
No, it's the January 9th.
It's always the 9th.
It's 9th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's on the 9th. Well, it might be the first Friday, but
I thought it was like the second Friday of the month. I think that's what it was.
Yeah,
I think this year just
second
happened
Friday.
to fall on the 9th.
Yeah. But it was. It's funny that we have a National Quitters Day because we can only hold on to a goal for 8 days,
Which makes a lot of sense. I hate New Year's resolutions. I think they're silly. I think you don't need a specific time or date to start something. It's completely arbitrary, right? Just start.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't have to. Tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow is always tomorrow.
Yeah.
So instead of saying, "Hey, I'm going to start next Monday" or "I'm going to start tomorrow," just start.
Why do you think? Why do you think that is? Why do you think we wait until Monday to start or first of the month?
People like things that are clean, right? So if you start on a Monday, it's the first part of the week. It's a clean start for that week. Yeah. And I think that's why. Like you need a starting point rather than just saying, "I'm going to start today. I'm going to start now."
Yeah.
Right.
That's good. That's a good perspective.
And I think people overdo it. So one of the issues with like New Year's resolutions is that people overdo it. Instead of just starting with small doses and work your way up, right? They're going to say, "I'm going to go from absolute nothing to 5 days a week in the gym, and I'm going to eat like this, and I'm going to sleep like this, and I'm going to increase my water, and blah, 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 blah." You're not going to accomplish all that. So instead of doing all those things, I'm going to go from completely sedentary to 1 day a week in the gym. I'm going to go for 1 day a week in the gym, and I'm going to increase my steps throughout the day. Then once you accomplish that, and that becomes a habit, you can build onto that. So if you go from 0 to 1 day a week, well, then in a month from now, you can go to 2 days a week. A month from then, you go to 3 days a week. Cool. Now you've accomplished that goal. Now let's go to your diet, right? Instead of saying, one thing I always tell people, instead of taking things away, and I say, "Hey, you can't eat sweets or you can't eat chips," I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to say, "Hey, every day I want you to try to get 1 serving of green vegetables in." You don't have to remove anything. No. You just have to get this in every day. And then what will naturally happen as you add those things in, other things will remove themselves.
Yeah.
Because you just can't fit it all in, right? So if I say, all right, 1 day a week or once a day, I want you to eat a serving of broccoli or whatever vegetable you choose. Mm. Well, naturally, that's going to take the place of something else eventually, right? If it doesn't right away, it will eventually. And then we go from 1 to 2. Now, if you're eating 2 servings of vegetables a day, especially something, carnivorous like broccoli, full of fiber, is going to make you full for longer. You're not going to eat those snacks. You're not going to eat those chips or those donuts or whatever.
Yeah.
Or less likely to.
I think you're right. I think we try to accomplish it in such a big like undertaking that overwhelms us and makes us not want to continue to go on with it, because it is scary when you're like, you look in your pantry and all you have is the sugars, those horrible foods that they say we should not eat, but it's all about portions.
It's all about portions.
But we can take that same mindset into the portion aspect of, well, if I'm going to start eating portions, then I need to start doing stuff in a portion style mindset, because like you said, I can't just jump into the deep end and say, hey, I'm going to the gym 5 days a week when you haven't gone at all in 5 years.
One of the biggest things I see with people trying to get in shape, when people think about getting in shape, what's the first thing to do? It's not go to the gym. It's not go lift weights, right? It's go run. You take people, and the thing we are best at as human beings is running. We are built to run. However, if you haven't done that in 10, 15, 30 years, and you're just like one day, oh, I'm going to go lose 30 pounds. I'm going to go start running. You don't know how to run. Your body's not ready for it, right? Injuries happen. I see that all the time because people just jump from 0 to 60. You go, I'm going to start running every day. Don't. Ease into it. Build it like a skill. You don't go from 0 to squatting 500 pounds. You have to build up to it. Running's the same way. Anything's the same way. You can't go from 0 to 60. You got to build up to it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm wondering what is it about going 0 to 60 that is so enticing for us to constantly do it from 0 to 60, and as soon as we hit the 60, we're like, whoop, we're bored.
We're impatient.
Okay.
People are impatient. They don't have the patience to go from 0 to 1, 0 to, or 1 to 2 to 3 to 4.
We want that instant gratification.
They want instant gratification. Yeah. People think too much about getting to the destination rather than enjoying the journey.
Yeah.
Right? If you enjoy the journey, you're going to keep walking further than the person who just enjoys the destination. If you're trying to get from point A to point B, and point B is all you care about, you're not going to care about everything in between.
Well, what I noticed in the downfall of why this happens is talking to people is we don't write stuff down. We think about it. It sounds good in our head. We will kind of say something to somebody, but we're afraid of the critique and the feedback that, like, if I said, hey, Tyler, I want to lose 30 pounds in 6 months. I know I can do it. You're like, I don't know if you could lose 30 pounds in 6 months because you got to do this. And I think what stops us from wanting to get out of that average realm or get out of the mundane lifestyle that we're currently in is we don't write it down because we either A, don't want to hold ourselves accountable, or B, we don't like the way it actually sounds when it comes from our head to our mouth, and understand that it's going to take work, right? Because it's the motivation that gets us going, but it's the discipline that we build that keeps us growing in that aspect.
So I actually hate that word.
Discipline?
Motivation.
Well, that's interesting.
Only because of the counter to it is discipline. Because people tend to lose motivation. Go back to the quitter's day, right? Why do they quit? It's because they lost motivation. What do they have a lack of?
Motivation.
Discipline.
Well, yeah. Yes.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. You want to get motivated to start, but if you won't keep going unless you have the discipline to keep going. Motivation is your ignition, right?
Yep.
Like motivation is the ignition button to get you going.
Absolutely.
The discipline is the alternator.
What do you need,
right, to keep you going?
What do you need to motivate you to even start?
I don't know.
You need a why.
There you
why
go.
are you doing it, right? But what happens is we build a silo around our why, thinking we're by ourselves in that aspect.
Do you think people forget their why too often?
Yes.
Do you think that's what it is?
Because they get distracted.
Okay.
They get distracted and they fall into the imposter syndrome of, I want to look like XYZ that I see on Instagram by the summer, and then you don't talk about it. All you do is you scroll. So and it's just a mental silo that you're putting yourself in. Because if you're not going to meet that Victoria's Secret model or that bodybuilder's body type by summer, you're like, well, I'm not going to tell Tyler, hey, I want to look like a bodybuilder by the summer, because if I don't do it, you're going to be like, hey, I thought you were going to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah,
joke.
Yeah, you're failing. Although I do believe you can get that Victoria's Secret body by this summer.
Well, I got that banana hammock for a reason.
There you go. So I want to talk about that though. So you mentioned something I was thinking about actually going into this episode was imposter syndrome. Yep. Talk about that.
So what I've seen with imposter syndrome is that what we started with, right? Being average.
Yeah.
We tell ourselves that we're okay being average, but then we find ourselves scrolling and wanting more and more and more. But we find
scrolling like doom scrolling or something.
Yeah, like Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. Because we always want to compare ourselves to where we eventually want to be. But what happens is we tend to fall into that realm or that pit of like, if I'm not them tomorrow, then it's not worth it, right? No one's going to value your journey more than you value it for yourself. And it's that trying to get that piece of people being motivated in order to build that discipline, because you can't have discipline without your motivation.
So how do you think someone figures out like who they are? Like take someone who's dealing with imposter syndrome. Like how do they figure out like who they are and get past that barrier?
Ask the people around you, what do you think of me? Right? How would you describe me if I was not here and someone wanted to ask you about me? Right? I always like to challenge people and ask them, who's your 5 champions that will support you, that have a little bit of influence or a lot of influence in your circle or outside your circle, in the aspect of when you're not there, are they promoting you in a positive light, or are they going to promote you in a negative light?
So is that kind of the same aspect of like you are the some of the 5 people you spend most time with?
Yep.
Kind of same concept.
Yep. Yeah. It all goes back to the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, in the aspect of you got to build your table. Who you inviting to your table?
Your board,
yeah. Right? Who and what influence are you given to them, and what influence are you taking from them?
Sure.
Right? Because if I got a board and I invited you and Justin and a bunch of other people, but I gave nothing to you guys, eventually you guys would kick me off the board,
right,
because I have nothing to give you guys for everyone to gain. But it's going back to the imposter syndrome, is we tend to want that instant gratification of, if this individual made it in this industry that I want to get into, we'll go like right now, podcast. This is our first episode. We know where we want to be, but we got to make sure that we don't fall into, well, we're not there tomorrow, so maybe this podcast is not a good start.
Right.
I understand. You understand that this is going to be a journey, and we're going to struggle a little bit. It's going to, our 100th episode is going to look different than the first
absolutely.
episode, but it's wanting to constantly keep your foot on the gas and constantly go and be willing to accept failure so you can continue to grow.
So to be perfectly candid, like that was something I dealt with early on in my career, especially starting my business, is I had imposter syndrome like no other. It was the weirdest thing. I don't really get anxious. I don't have anxiety per se. I don't deal with depression or whatever, but getting that imposter syndrome, that is a very, very real thing, and sometimes very hard to deal with, because you constantly don't think that you're going to live up to. And it wasn't so much comparison, at least for me, right? It wasn't I was comparing myself to other people in the industry or other therapists or whatever it was. It was like I was comparing myself to my future self, to where my 5-year, my goals, right? Where my 5-year person that I thought I was going to be, that's what I was comparing myself to. Was I on the right track? Was I good enough to get there because this hadn't gone right, or that hadn't gone right, or I hadn't made this step yet? I think that for me, that was one of the biggest things.
But what would you tell yourself 5 years from now if we never did this podcast?
That you were stupid.
Yeah.
Right? That anything that I've ever done is I've always thought about whether how I feel about it or not, I'm going to take that chance.
Yeah.
So every millionaire, every self-made millionaire on average had 10 businesses that failed.
Absolutely.
Before they had the one that took off.
But what's the difference between them and the
I want to get through that 10.
Yeah,
like I want to hurry up and fail 9 times so I can get to that 10th one that makes that $1 million.
No, absolutely. Well, and it goes into right as soon as I was transitioning out of the military into the civilian world, is this idea of this business, this idea of getting networking and putting myself out there and being exposed in that aspect. People were like, well, you're going to get told no. And I was like, absolutely.
Good.
And they're like, well, aren't you afraid of no's? No, because I've changed my no's into a different perspective of it's the next opportunity. It's the next opportunity for me to succeed, and it's the next opportunity for me to fail, to learn, because we don't learn through our successes. We learn through our failures.
Absolutely. Or a no, every no is it's not a no, it's a not yet.
Yep.
Or it's no in this form, right?
Yep.
No is never a solid no.
Absolutely.
There's always another opportunity behind it.
Yeah. And well, it's building that discipline to understand that the no's are okay for you to eventually get your node out of your average.
Yep.
Right. In order to really drive home the whole aspect of you're worth more, your capability is worth more, your potential is worth more. You just need either yourself to believe in yourself, or you need somebody to kick you in the butt and say, hey, stop.
Well, you have to, like, how many hours does it take to become, from a novice to a journeyman, right? In certain industries, like, or whatever the classifications are. You have to have so many hours, you have to have so many repetitions in that thing to get to the spot you want to be to be considered a master or whatever it is. Those no's count. That's a rep every single time. If you're going door to door, you're selling vacuums, and you get told no 1,000 times, but that 1,001th time is your yes, and you quit at 1,000, you're a failure, right? You keep going until you get that yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just wanting to constantly get back up and constantly be okay with getting criticized, be okay getting made fun of, be okay with failing, so you can stop yourself from falling into that pit of imposter syndrome or comparison syndrome, or stop being intentional in what you want and acting it out the way you want to get it.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
So I guess I will kind of put us towards the end of kind of asking, who are you? Right? Who are you in the aspect of, are you the average individual? Are you the individual that wants more but doesn't know how to get it? So what would you say to someone if they asked you, who are you?
I've thought about that a lot recently. And for me, it's I've always kind of thought about that question as like, I'm a entrepreneur, I'm a massage therapist, but really what I am is I'm a husband first, right? That's who I am. My job is to take care of my family, take care of my wife. That's who I am. I'm a person who always strives for something better and wants to continue to grow. That's who I am. Remove the entrepreneurship, remove the massage therapist, whatever is in front of me, that's who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I answer that question in the way of like understanding that it's been said that the tragedy to life is not that it ends too soon. It's that we wait too long to begin it.
Sure. Yeah.
And I feel like after 20 years in the military, I just now starting my new life. And now that I'm starting my new life, it's the excitement of rediscovering who I am, because I understood that I was in a box for 20 years, getting told what to do, what to wear, where to go, what to think. Now I'm out there free.
Yeah.
I have the experiences, the perspectives, the tools, the education, but now it's me driving out and being who I want to be on my terms.
Right.
And being intentional on understanding what are my terms defined as for myself, because no one's going to value me more than I value myself.
Nope.
So like you said, you are a husband. I am a husband as well, a husband, a father, and that is my why. Yep. That is who I am, is the definition of my why, leading that generational wealth, leading that stuff around for my kids and my grandkids to be able to look back and be like, oh, what an idiot, or hey, he took the risk in order to really put himself out there, to get criticized, to get the feedback, in order to really be somebody better tomorrow than I was today.
And legacy matters too.
Yep.
Like for me, like legacy matters. I want when I'm done, retired or dead or gone or whatever, like I want people to remember me, that not that I was successful, but that I was caring, I was helpful, like I did what I could to help others. Like legacy matters. Thank you for listening to the Synergy Code podcast. If you haven't already, please subscribe and follow us on all platforms. To stay up to date with all things Synergy Code, follow us at the Synergy Code Pod on social media. Also, thanks to our main sponsors, Top Tier Massage Therapy Performance Recovery, MEI Coaching, ProX Productions, and the Digital Unicorn.